Okay. Can we have the lights up, please? Is anybody put the lights up? The same person? Thank you, Ryan. Okay. So just before, I know we're taking a little bit of time. We're going to have a very quick question and answer session. For those of you who have any questions on the film, I know I haven't not seen that for a few months. I saw a few things in the film that might need a bit of explanation. So I'm going to invite over here, in one of those chairs, Julian, who wrote the music, and Genesio, who is he? Over there, who edited the film. Rabbi, is there anyone who can turn the mics on? Oh, one. So, one. So if I have to project my voice. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, Amanda. Be possible.
Maybe you can all answer this separately, but what feeling would you like everyone to walk away with?
What
feeling, what emotion would you like?
What emotion? Okay. So, what emotion? To me personally, I think the story speaks for itself. Any emotion that you feel, having seen that and having understood it, is good enough for me. I think the characters in the film put their all into it, and they showed you exactly the emotions that were going through the minds of the people that it occurs. The real life characters in the film. For me, what I can come up best I come with at the moment is that one must never give up hope, because the Morris, the old man in the film, went through hell and back, and anyone in that position understandably could have given up hope very easily, and they did. This is not just a singular story. This is a story of many Holocaust survivors. And if that, being a true story, should show us that one must never give up hope, and one must never give up the belief that there could be a corner that you're going to turn. So that's what I think. Okay. Just to reiterate, by the way, this is Genesio. And this is Julian. So any questions about editing or music or whatever? Anybody else? Any questions? At the back, yeah.
It might as
well. Tim, wait for the mic. Oh, sorry.
Is it a true story?
Who said that? Can you stand up and identify yourself, please? Yes, it is a true story. Truth is, we adapted it. My son Dooley, the one with the microphone, he adapted it. The actual true, real story took place in Israel, and the two people met on a plane going to Israel, but we didn't have the budget for that, unfortunately, so we had to change it to Pinner Park, which I think was better than an LR plane myself. Okay. Anybody else? Remember, the food's waiting, so. Oh. Nathan over here.
I really enjoyed the film. Obviously, the emotional scene, you see the actors are crying. Were the crew crying?
Okay, I think it's a question for Genesio. How do you feel? You edited it. You tell me how you feel.
How do I feel? Well, I think that, as you said earlier, the first thing that came across when finishing watching the final version of the film was this mixed message of faith and hope and how important it is to open up. That's also to answer the question the lady asked earlier, how important it is to open up and to communicate, because if you never actually shared this story with a stranger on a bench, you probably would have never met the film, or if he never took that plane in real life, he would have never found out that his son was in fact not dead. I think that from an editing point of view, it was quite easy to put together. There was a lot to put together, but it was quite easy because the script was very strict and it was easy to follow. So, but that's some technical stuff that might not be of real interest. So yeah, it felt quite emotional. It was an intense film to put together, and to see the performances crying over and over again until you chose the right one was even more intense than it actually appears on the final version. So yeah.
Thank you. He's Italian, Mo. So, any other questions? Yes.
I heard the story about the plane before, and actually when he walked into shul, the film was excellent, very emotional. He walked into shul and the son was saying Kaddish to his father as he walked into shul. Yeah.
Actually, so let me explain what this. Yeah, thank you. What this lady is saying is when the Savant into the synagogue, in the real story, the son was on the bima, I don't know how you say it in English, in the dais, the raised dais, and he was actually saying Kaddish, which is a memorial prayer. And in fact, we actually did film the son saying Kaddish, but we decided to cut it out because the film was getting too long. But maybe we'll do an unedited version one day and stick that Kaddish prayer in. Yeah, I still have the rushes from the film, and I have that Kaddish. So yeah. Anybody else?
Are you going to promote this film elsewhere?
Oh, I'd like to. I'd like to make big money out of it because I'm actually out of pocket at the moment. But well, thank God we made it. But yes, I would like to take it further. Perhaps one day we might put it together with a couple of other films. Maybe make it like an anthology or something. Because people don't really want to come out. Apart from you, obviously, don't want to come out to see a short film. That's why we bundle it with other stuff and schlepped it out. And that's what we're talking to give you the money's worth. So yeah. Anybody else?
Here. Hi.
Hi.
My name is Ruth. I'm Italian, so challenging it easy.
What's that?
So I want to thank you very much for this opportunity, and the movie was very, very beautiful. Also the music, and I really appreciated the quotes that you put together at the beginning also. And I really want to ask you, how can I see them again? Because I couldn't remember everything. You know, the quote about at the beginning about the Talmud,
Yes.
and then another one at the end.
Yeah.
So it was very beautiful. And also, the movie, what left to me is the hope for sure, but also to be open to receive help from people that maybe they bring us into the path that we are waiting for. So this is very powerful. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You actually raised a very important point because we sort of extended that theme, the hope, because in our next project, which is nothing to do with this film, we took a new direction. At the moment, we're making a docudrama, which is a documentary with drama in it, about men's mental health, because we feel that that's something that's very neglected. There are horrible stories about suicides, about men who cannot come forward and don't have the confidence and the wherewithal to come forward and speak about their suffering. So that's our current project. So it's, it's not quite in line with our previous work, but we feel it's a very important subject that needs to be broached, and it's very hard making it. We've heard all sorts of horror stories, but we have our spin on it is that we're going to talk about the people who've gone to the depths of despair and pain and who've made it through to the other side, because there are people out there who've come through and they smile. Just parenthetically, one of the interviews that we're going to do for this mental health documentary is with somebody who is an ex-actor who got to such a stage, and he talks about this publicly. He was self-mutilating, he was taking drugs, anything you could think of, and worse. And yet, when he told me his story, which he very bravely did, he was smiling. And I said, I cannot believe what you've gone through, you've come through, and you're smiling. You tell your story with confidence. So that's the type of person we want to find. We want to find the people who've been through, just like Morris in this film, went to the depths and came out with something very precious. It's exciting. So you want to show people that you need to speak up. You should never be silent. And yeah. Okay, anybody else? Jude.
I have a question.
Oh, my son has a question. Okay. Can you tell me to go?
Regarding the music, what was going through your mind when you came up with the soundtrack, and what was your prompt?
Oh, so much. I mean, it's such an emotive subject, obviously, isn't it? And in my own family, I've got very small family. We've got a history of our family going through the Holocaust and losing a big part of the family. So when Adrian called me up and said he really wanted me to work on the music for it, just so much going through my head. In my head I had Schindler's List and the John Williams scores and all this sort of stuff going on. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to come up with something that just kind of reflected the emotion, really. I must have watched it about 1,000 times. Cried just so many times, and just something that would really kind of bring that emotion out, and just like from a sort of personal basis, I was really, like Adrian was talking about mental health there. I was really struggling with my own mental health at home during lockdown when he called me about this, and it just really helped me, just to sort of focus on doing something else that wasn't me just like pondering over, why is this all happening, and so it's quite a complex bunch of emotions, really. So I'm forever grateful to Adrian for calling me up and asking me to work on this project.
Feeling is entirely mutual. It's a dream come true to work with somebody from your childhood. So, okay, maybe one or two more questions, because I think people are sniffing the food now.
A very quick one. The lady asked before whether it's available anywhere in the marketplace. Now, you skipped over that. I mean, are you going to put it on Facebook or YouTube or something like that?
Okay, this is something that's not decided yet. Marketing and all the end bits to do with the making money out of it is not really my bag. Okay, I make the films. I rely on other people to help me with marketing. So the short answer is I don't know. But I'm under a bit of pressure to make money out of it from somebody who will remain nameless. But she told me you have to come up with a profit as opposed to a loss. But yeah, ideally, yeah. I mean, tonight was not a fundraising effort. Even though the money that you donated, if you did donate, is going to go to the synagogue. It's not. This is just self-promotion. But yeah, I would love to show it again. Maybe you might have another premiere this time in a place where we can show on a really large screen and we get all the colour correction and make it 5.1 surround sound. Because there's a lot there that you couldn't really see on the small screens. Yeah.
No, I mean the sound as well. I was noticing that the scene where the father finds the watch, that sort of like roaring noise that was going on was actually a storm coming from outside that could not come out properly in the 2.0 system of the projector speaker. Probably on a real system we would have a different effect on.
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, probably we'd like to show it again at some point. It really depends on if there's anybody out there, because I think that's important. We need to get people to see it. So, yeah, hopefully sometime in the future. Okay, I think I have one more question. Anybody? What's my favourite colour? No. Oh, Tom. This man, Tom, I worked on a film with him earlier in the year. He's an assistant cameraman. So, Tom.
Thank you. What was your biggest takeaway from the production side of Epiphany? Like, was there anything in particular that you learned or took away from it as a whole?
Oh, wow.
You answer that.
So, pass it, don't blame me. Okay. Okay. I think they're both going to have to say something on this because okay, so it's a big learning curve. I mean, it's not the first time I've done this, it's the second time I've done this. But still, after my experience in working with film, which is limited because I was always involved in video, but working with crew, yeah, that was a big learning curve. Post-production pulled out the most surprises, like all the pre-production and post-production. So all the research we did, that was endless. I'll tell you a very quick anecdote, because the film was made over 4 days, and on the second day of filming, my daughter and my son, my not yet son-in-law, but son-in-law to be, you're listening then, they decided to be very selfish and get engaged. So I came back from filming the second day, which was the park scenes and everything, and the next day we were going to do the scenes with the Nazis. So I had to get two Nazi outfits and a gun and all sorts of bits, and I was relying on ordering it all when I got home. When I got home, there was this big engagement party in the house, so I just worried. I just spent the evening worrying. So, of course, normally when this, you defer to your other half. So my wife advised me, don't worry about it. One of our sons will go the next morning and go and get everything, both the outfits, and everything will be fine. Just send them an email, tell them what you want, fine. Which we did. The shoot was supposed to start at 8 a.m. Okay? By maybe 10:30, the outfits came in. What happened was, I don't want to go through the whole story, but briefly, my son Rafi over there, he went on the train, got there to the place which is an hour and something away from home. He said, okay, I'm here to collect the order. They said, what order? He said, well, my father sent an email with this and this and this. They said, no, we didn't receive it. So he had to pull off the shelf 2 entire full Nazi outfits with all the regalia and the gun and everything and bring it back on the tube with him. Yeah? It's not really what you want to be bringing back on the tube. And he was in a Hessian bag with the gun sticking out. So that's what we... Another little tidbit that we I'm just going to finish with this. You know, a lot of the film was about the watch. The watch was seminal. The watch was a gift to the son, and he wore it throughout his life. So after the first day's filming, where we featured the watch, on the second day when the cast came back, Stephen, who is here somewhere, Stephen over here, who played Mr. Shetler. I'm sorry, I'm not going to embarrass you by this story, but so Ed was set up for the second day. and we said, okay, Stephen, put the watch on and let's get going. Stephen says, I forgot it at home. And home for him is Cambridge. So we were just about to start filming, and the watch is something we could not do without, and it was in Cambridge. Now, I didn't think, oh, send the cab to Cambridge and back, because that's going to take an hour and a half each way. And we couldn't afford, on a 4-day shoot, we couldn't afford to lose that amount of time. So, there is somebody, I don't even know if he's here, his name is Yoni Gluck. Is Yoni Gluck here? Yoni was a runner in the production. He was with us the whole 4 days. He helped us with pre-production. The reason why I mention his name is because he's only 14 years old. He was 14 years old at the time. If I tell you the amount of input that 14-year-old boy gave to the film, he chose the location, he helped with the casting, and he helped with this following problem I'm going to tell you. So, no watch. What we're going to do? It was a very specific watch. So Yoni said, don't worry, I'll sort it out. Okay, 14-year-old boy, can't drive, even if he did, no car. What's he going to do? We were filming in the Pillar, which is a hotel in Hendon. So he goes off on his way, and he kept sending me pictures. What about this? What about this? And I was like, no. In the end, he found in one of the charity shops, was like, a watch which was pink. Bright candy pink. And we had no choice at this point. We said, bring it in. And what we did was, the black and white scene, that was the one that we used that watch in, because it's black and white, you can't tell that it's pink. But it was a pink girl's watch, and thank God we made the scene in black and white. Thank you, Yoni Gluck. Okay, thank you so much. We're going to open up the doors at the back there. Feel free, help yourself to the food. There's a bit of whiskey going around. Thank you all for coming.